how do musicians make money in 2026? That's the question I'm looking to answer here today by having the conversations that most musicians avoid. Today, I'm joined by Tommy Lee Depp. He's a German-based bass player with a really impressive social media catalog. And yeah, I know you've been playing some gigs and that sort of thing. So thanks for joining me, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
I want to start with, what is the first money that you ever made as a musician?
The first money was playing gigs, like with a cover band back in the day. And I think it was only like our friends or maybe family who gave us a bit of money. So that was the first official money that I made as a musician.
That's cool. How old were you?
I was 15 or 16, something like that. I think 15.
Okay, nice. And did you study? Did you study music?
No, I learned on my own for 1 year. And then I started taking lessons. And I had the idea of studying it also, but then I was like, no, let's do a proper job and do music on the side.
So what was that proper job? Like, you were doing something else? Did you study for that?
Yeah, I studied at university. It's basically business with electronic engineering. It's like a combination thing. So that's what I did. I thought it opens up a lot of possibilities. I learned a bit about the electronic stuff, which will also give me some more insights of how effect pedals work and all of that. So that was the idea.
So right now, what does the sort of breakdown of your income kind of look like? I know obviously you got the YouTube. I know you've been doing some gigs and that sort of thing. Like, yeah, what does the breakdown look like right now, roughly?
Okay, yeah, so I still have the main job, but I think now we only focus on the music part. So I think there I have like 3 different areas. So one is basically the gigs, and the other one is YouTube, and also product reviews, like I see it in one category, and the third one is the teaching or the coaching. And the least amount of money I make with the gigs, like I have my own band.
Sure.
We make our own music. Like, it's not a cover band. So it's more about fun. Like, there is a bit of money, but it's really not an amount where you could live off, basically.
Sure.
Then the second one, which is going, like, it depends how much time I invest into it. That would be the coaching or the lessons. That makes, way more than, for example, the gigs. But it depends, how much time I invest into it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to get on more students. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to have a bit more time for myself. So it depends on that, but it can be compared sometimes to my regular job or to my day job that I have. And then last year I discovered, or I got more into those YouTube thing, like product reviews, paid videos, like, you get a bass, for example, you feature it in a video, you talk about it, and then you get money for that. And that was pretty successful last year. Like, I had a lot of collaborations. So that basically was by far the most money that I made. So that was on top, basically the product reviews. After that, the coaching, which, depending on the time, could have been more. And on the very bottom, it's the gigs.
That's cool. That's really interesting. So with the product side of things, are they like, I imagine there's a couple of different avenues with that. Like, there's like an endorsement, but then there's also like, do you do affiliates? Like, is that part of the strategy there?
Yeah, exactly. So there's an affiliate program, and also it depends. Sometimes, or it's like passive income, basically. Sometimes, many people buy the product that I feature. Sometimes not that much. And that's basically it. And the product videos, sometimes you get paid for doing the video, and then you have to, or you either get to keep the gear or you send it back. Or sometimes, the deal is you get to keep the gear and you don't get paid, but, I pay attention that I get, or that I feature good products. So, if I get to keep them, that's cool.
Sure. Yeah,
So that's
cool.
how it works, basically.
That's cool. I can imagine you get a lot of people reaching out to you. Is that kind of how you, like, do you sort of pick and choose, or have you gone to those companies and sort those things out yourself?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, this one. Like, I also went to conventions and different events last year, and actively, approached the people there and told them about my YouTube channel and that, I'm a bass player and I'm interested to feature the product. So it's like a mixture. Sometimes you meet another creator within that scene, and then this creator helps you, make connections to companies and all of that. Then it's getting a bit easier. But at the
Sure.
moment, it's more like I have to approach them. So I'm not like, but it also happens that, they reach out to me and then, we make a deal or something. So it's
Sure.
like a combination also.
I'm curious, like having kept that sort of main job, like you've got this primary thing that you do for work as sort of a consistent form of income. How does that change how you approach like what you do musically? I mean, obviously, we all want to make more money, that sort of goes without saying, but like I can imagine you would probably, like you alluded to before, like, okay, like sometimes I feel like doing a bit more coaching, a bit more teaching, and maybe you do that. And then you're like, oh, I want to take a break and do something a bit more passive. Like, how does it affect how you approach what you choose to do musically?
Yeah, of course, it limits me a bit sometimes because I have to work there, 40 hours a week. And basically, like, yeah, that's like the main problem, but I still have a lot of freedom, compared to other jobs, for example. Like, if I work one day longer, then, for example, I can take one day off, which I then use for creating videos or preparing resources, for the students and all of that. Or I take one whole week off. Like, that's usually what I do, whenever I go on vacation, it's in a productive way to work on videos, to work on, all kind of musical stuff, gigs also. But yeah, I found, or what also plays a role is, when it comes to coaching, for example, that if they are in the same time zone or in a similar time zone as me, that's pretty easy because you can meet in the evening, and in the evening I have time basically, or on the weekend. It only gets a bit tricky. For example, if you have someone from Australia or far away from Germany, then you can't do it from Monday to Friday, for example. Or it would happen, but it is very difficult. So that is where the job limits me a bit.
Here's a question that I'm trying to get my own head around. Do you think, or I guess, why do you think? Actually, first of all, do you agree with me that, like, I feel like musicians, like, there's this sort of hesitancy to like talk about money and finances. It's like it's almost all a bit taboo. It's like, do you agree with that? Like, do you find that, like, talking to other musicians about how they make money, that people are a bit hesitant to maybe share those things or talk about it?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like, I think for many people, yeah, that's true. Like gigging musicians, for example, or people that teach in the traditional way, which means a very low income per month. Like in that, they are noticed. Okay, there's some kind of shame, maybe even that they don't really want to talk about that. But with people like you, for example, or with people in that YouTube music creator scene, yeah, they are pretty transparent, and it's more like that they share, and inspire each other. Like I got inspired a lot, but I think those more traditional musicians, with the classical approach, they are more, or you can tell they're not really happy. They're doing a lot of work and not making that much money, like the money that would deserve actually. So they are noticed, okay, it's a bit, and some of them also joke about that, you don't need to eat every day.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, it's a really interesting you say that. I think that, I think there's some truth to that idea. I think like a lot of the time there's can be an associated, shame seems like a strong word, but I know what you mean. It's like, and almost like as a musician, you're sort of expected to struggle almost. Like, look, for myself, both my parents are musicians, right? So when I went to university and studied music, and when I told them I'm going to go study music, they were both just like, well, that's fine, but you're going to be poor forever. Like correct. They were just like straight up, they were pretty, but I was young and arrogant and I was like, I'm not going to, of course I'm going to do it. But yeah, I feel like there's this sort of like, you're sort of supposed to. And then when there's this sort of, for lack of a better word, this sort of new wave of musician that comes through and they're leveraging different ways to make money as a musician, like yourself, right? Like making YouTube videos and promoting products and all this kind of stuff. Like there's almost a bit of, potentially like resentment there or something like that. But I think it's great. You know, I think it's great that there are new ways to do it, and you've certainly carved something out for yourself, like doing that you know, seems to work for you. What are your thoughts on that note? What are your thoughts about the music industry as a way to make like a decent living? And I'm interested in your answer because you've sort of got a foot in both worlds. You know, it's like you're in the
Right.
music industry, but you're also like, you know, you got your foot in another industry as well. Like, yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
I think if you're doing it on your own, like completely on your own, it will be very hard, or it can be very hard, because I noticed you need to know what you're doing. I mean, I had a pretty good coach who showed me how, it's done. But, if you don't know how it's working, then you don't know, okay, how much money can you ask for, when you're playing a gig or when you're doing a product review, for example. And then most people will go very low because they don't want to risk something, and they also don't want to seem arrogant or something like that. And that will limit them. It was also like that for me because I had no idea how much money can I charge, actually. But once you learn, what's possible, or that your work is actually valuable, and then you notice, okay, you can charge more for that, then it opens many doors for you, and you will notice, okay, you don't have to struggle as a musician, because like you said, that's something that most people think. When you tell someone you want to study music, they will tell you, yeah, that's pretty nice, but why don't you do something proper instead?
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes it hard in the beginning. Like if you're on your own and you don't know how it's working, then it can be very frustrating. Of course, if you have the will to do it, even alone, then you can do it. I think there will be a way if you have a goal in mind. But if you have someone who helps you, on the journey, who's been there before, I'm not saying it will be easy. Like you still have to put in the work, but it will be possible, and you will see, okay, it can work. And if you put more time into it, then it will work even better.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to look at it. I think like nowadays, I think making money as a musician is more accessible, but it doesn't mean it's easier. I
Yeah,
think
correct.
it's like there's more avenues to do it, but like with anything, there's a learning curve, like it's like you sort of choose your hard, like one thing might be hard, something else might be hard, like both paths are going to be difficult. So yeah, I think that at least that's my feeling about it now. It's like it's more accessible, but it doesn't necessarily mean easy. What advice would you have for someone looking to start a career in the music industry if they came to you? And I'm sure you've had students and maybe someone asked you like, I want to start a career in music. Like, what would you tell them knowing what you know now?
Like, first of all, I would ask, what kind of direction would you want to go? Like, is it a gigging musician, or is it really building a social media following? Like, I think these are like the two main ones. And depending on that, yeah, there are different things. Like, for example, for the social media thing, I think it's important that you have a concept in mind, that you have decent quality, at least. Like, you should have good quality, because nowadays the internet is full of creators, and that makes it quite hard. You need to be consistent, always, deliver good content. And don't, in the beginning, do it for the money. I would say do it also mostly because it's fun, especially when it comes to the social media thing. But yeah, you need to have a goal in mind. You need to stick to it. Like, if you don't get any views in the beginning, you should still continue. There's something that I would give an advice. And yeah, when it comes to gigging, like, I'm not playing too many gigs. Like, I've played many gigs over the year, but I would advise maybe that you need to know the basics, of course. You need to know your instrument. You need to be fun to work with. Like, you shouldn't be,
Yeah.
arrogant or unreliable or all of that stuff. Like, I think it matters more if you're, reliable. You come to the rehearsal on time. Even if you're not the best player, still, when you're a good person to work with, I think it's more likely that you get the gig instead of someone who's, pro, but yeah, a pain
Totally.
to work with. But that's the advice I would give.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. I also like what you said about, I know it's easier said than done, like saying, don't necessarily do it for the money in the beginning, but isn't it kind of true that with any art form, it's like if we listened, if all artists listened to what people said, there'd be no art in the world. Like there'd just be nothing. Because it's like I said, when my parents are just like, hey, you know, this is going to be difficult. You're not going to make any money. If I had just gone, okay, yeah, you're right, and just like not pursued that, then, you know, who knows where I would be, obviously, but it's like, it's hard to imagine my life without music as well, you know? So I think
totally.
like, it's like you need to, I like what you said, like you need to connect with the thing that what's the thing that makes you want to do it. And then what's the financial sort of model that can allow you to do the thing that you love.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and thinking about that, one more advice would be maybe don't tell anyone in the beginning. Maybe you can tell your best
Keep
friend.
it a secret. Yeah.
But I would keep it secret, because if you're excited about your idea, I want to become a content creator or something, and then you tell it to your parents, they will be like, yeah, why don't you do something proper instead with your time? Or you tell
Yeah.
your friends, and they will also be like, aren't you a bit too old for doing this? And then it will
Yeah.
frustrate you, or it might frustrate you, and then you might give up. So I think it's better if you keep it for yourself. And if it's working at some point, then maybe you can mention it. But there's no need to tell people who will try to bring you down. Like, even if it's not maybe their intention, but you know, they are known to their habit, or they are used to their habits, and so they will also want to keep you on yours. So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Actually, one more thing on the content, because obviously you've built a really massive following on YouTube, and I think that that's great. And you've made so much stuff, right? Like an enormous amount of content. And it's funny because I was doing another one of these interviews with someone else, and we were talking about how, you know, nowadays the conversation used to be about like whether or not you should post on social media, like as a musician. But now it's just like you have to. It's not even like, it's like if you don't, you're making things so much harder for yourself. Like, so you absolutely should, you know, you absolutely have to. Did you feel like in the beginning when you were making content, like, were you self-conscious about it, like, or worried about what people thought about it? Like, how did you kind of push through that side of things, or did you just get on with it? And
No,
I'm curious what that you did.
Yeah, I had a lot of doubts. Like, I started in 2012. I was still in school back then, and I thought, okay, I don't really want to, you know, that my schoolmates know what I'm doing. So in the beginning, I didn't even show my face on YouTube. So I uploaded the first terrible videos, you know, without showing me my face. Then at some point there was a collaboration with a guy from England, and then I was like, okay, now I have to show my face.
Yeah.
And at that point I did it, and some people, you know, found my channel, but they only said good things about that. So from that point I was like, okay, I can also show my face. And from that point it was pretty easy. I actually, you know, when I started the first talking videos, because back in the day I only played music on the YouTube channel. But you know, when I made the first talking videos, it was also very, very weird, because I was very stiff in front of the camera. My English wasn't on point. I think the voice got higher because I was very nervous.
Right.
So there I experienced again, okay, I have a lot of doubts when it comes to that. But then after, I don't know, I think it took like 20 videos or maybe even more. But then I was more like, okay, that's part of my routine now. It's no problem. But in the beginning, yeah, the first videos won't be perfect. Like, maybe it will take 20 videos that are very bad, or maybe even more. But at some point you get used to it. So that's also something to consider.
Do you relate to this? Like, at a certain point for me, I literally remember this happening. Like, it's like I was the same. I was very self-conscious. And then at some point I was like editing a video, and it's just like you stop viewing it as you anymore. Like, it's just a person talking, and you're like doing the edit, and I don't know, at some point you just kind of let go. And if a video bombs, or if there's a bunch of bad comments on it or something, you're just like, oh, whatever, like I'll fix it. I'll fix it in the next one, you know, like you just have to let go of that. And actually it's funny, that makes me think of one thing. I've always found it funny about musicians in particular who get self-conscious about posting online, because you're literally a performer. Like that's your job. Your job is to play music in front of people. But now it's like, if you post on Instagram, it's like, oh no, that's weird, or like self-conscious. It doesn't make much sense to me.
But I agree. Yeah, that's pretty weird actually. Once the camera's on, things change. But after a while, yeah, it gets better. Like I'm still not perfect at it. Like compared to your videos, you speak very freely and all of that. But it got better. So I think with practice, even that part, becomes easier.
So moving forward, where are you trying to take things like income wise? Like where are you putting the most energy, and what are your kind of goals, moving forward, like with how you're making money? Are you kind of happy with how things look for you right now, or like what are you aiming for?
I'm aiming, more for the product review thing to make it work like automatically, that, companies also reach out to me more than I reach out to them. That would be great, that, I always get the deals like every month, for example, that are like minimum of 4 deals or something like that. So that would be the goal. Therefore, I'm making a lot of content, like at least three videos a week, short videos. Then, the coaching at some point, maybe later this year, I will also try to do that more again, because at the moment, I focus on only very few students who are committed. But it's giving how much time I have at the moment and all of that. I'm not doing too much. So there's also something that I will catch up on again. But cool. I think the main focus will be the product reviews, the YouTube thing. And, the gigs I still play, but for me, they're just fun.
Yeah.
If there's a bit of money, it's cool, but, I also would do it without the money just to be able to perform. So I think that's a good thing.
What's the best money you've ever spent on your music career, or the best thing that you've bought, that you are the happiest that you spent money on, whether it's like a particular bass or something like that? The best investment, I guess, you've made in your music career.
Good question. Yeah, I mean, of course, the first bass, that helped with the career, of course. But no, thinking back, I think it was like, the coaching program that I did with you. I think it was like 3 years ago or something, because it totally put me out of my comfort zone, making interviews with people on Zoom I've never met before, internationally, practicing my English. So looking back, I think that was one of the biggest, achievements or things, that I invested into music, because now I can help other people, and I made some good results, over the years with people all around the world. So that's something I'm really happy about.
That's cool, man. Thank you. Thanks so much. What's the worst investment you've made? What's the dumbest thing that you've spent money on as part of your music career?
Different things. Like, for example, back in the day, I got like a wah pedal.
Yeah.
Because I saw a video of, Flea by the Red Hot Chili Peppers using wah pedal. And I was a complete beginner, and I was like, okay, I also need to get that one. So I bought it, and I think I used it one time, and then I never used it again. So that that wasn't too great. And I also, I bought a quite expensive bass. Like at some point I was like, okay, now I have a few basses who cost, around 500, which is more, like it's not, like it's more of a beginner kind of area, when it comes to instruments. And then I was like, okay, now I want to have something decent. So I spent, I think, 2,000 on a bass back then. And then just, a few weeks later, I got contacted by companies suddenly who invited me to London, for example, to shoot some videos. And there I got, my first 2 basses for free.
Right.
And then I think 1 month later, another company reached out to me. So I got another bass for free.
Right.
And suddenly within that year, I got like 4 basses for free. And I never really used the expensive bass that I bought, because now I had all of those other basses. And I was like, okay, that wasn't really worth it. But I didn't sold it or anything. Sure. But it was still, I never really used it, to be honest.
It's been great chatting with you, man. Thanks so much for joining me. And how can people find you? Just let us know what your socials are so people can check you out.
Yeah, basically, the name is Tommy Lee Depp, and it's that name on every platform. So, just one word, basically. And you will find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. TikTok also, but there I basically just upload the videos and leave the app immediately. And YouTube, of course, that's
Sure.
the other main platform. Also, Facebook is also available, but I don't really need it. But you can also contact me, or they can also contact me there. So, yeah, these
Sure,
are the
man.
platforms.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for coming on, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Cheers.